United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. John?
Here.
Beverly? Here. Karen? Here. 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 Mr. Johnson, sir.
Well, as usual, I was unable to print anything, which we'll be fixing. I'm still looking for the best prices on computers and everything.
This modern generation.
Well, and I'm just going to have to break down and buy something, because it's got to a point where it's kind of aggravating. Anyway, good evening, everybody. How's everyone tonight? For April, we had a total of 26 calls. We had 1 structure fire that was an assist to Lee Township, 21 medical calls, 3 vehicle accidents with injuries, 1 grass fire. The medical calls, the majority of them, and I'm sorry I don't have that statistic with me. Once I print it, I'll read it next month. The majority of those calls were covered by the people that we have hired part-time during the day. So that's already paying for itself.
We're all 21 here in our township?
Yeah, we don't run medicals outside of outside of the township.
Okay.
We are strictly medical within our township. So then the majority of those calls were run during daytime hours, which typically we would have had trouble covering those, or I would have responded from South Haven from work, and it would have been a 15-minute response at best, depending on what school I'm working at the time. So the program is working out well. With that said, I got an email from a board member who asked about hiring, and that the board typically approved the hires that I present to you. We run a background check through the county, go through the application process, and then I ask that the board allow us to hire these applicants. Typically in the past, what we've done is we tentatively hire them pending board approval so we can get them going. It was always the understanding, kind of unwritten between the board and myself, that if they pass the background check through the county, they are indeed hireable. So what I'm asking is that we make this an actual agreement that the fire department can hire people pending approval of the board so that we can get medical personnel hired, which we have 2 coming in for interviews next week. And if they pass the background check, I would like to get them started immediately, just so we have more coverage.
How would the motion read? What would be your motion?
Well, I would just, I can't make a motion.
Well, I don't want you to make a motion.
I would like
want you to say how you.
I would just like to ask the board to allow the fire department to pre-hire or tentatively hire personnel pending approval within a month when I provide the background check and application. The carpet is in at the fire department and it looks great. It's really helped out dampen the echo in the room so that when we have classes in there, everybody will actually be able to hear finally. As I said, I'm still looking for the best deal I can get on computers, and my IT guy had an emergency and he was not able to make it tonight, but he did send me some information. What I'm looking at doing, what I would like to be able to do, would be to transfer our email from Bloomingdale to a Google account, so we could have a Google Drive. We would still go through Bloomingdale, so we would have Bloomingdale email addresses, but we would be able to have everyone on the fire department have a Google address, a Bloomingdale address. And for FOIA reasons, that way in the future, we're not using personal email addresses to conduct fire department business. The transition to Google is free. It is the safest option. And Karen, we spoke about security on that. And the more I got to thinking about it, Bronson, all their medical records are online. The FBI files are online. There's all kinds of the stuff that's online that is secure. I was told by the IT gentleman I spoke to and would like to use that he feels Google is safer than a hard drive. A server.
Yeah,
at the fire
that was
department.
the question, is
Yeah.
Google
And
specifically.
they have more security in place than we could have, and we are looking at roughly about $4,000 for the server we spoke about. The total transitional cost for us to go to Google, to get Bloomingdale on board with this, to go to Google, to get the Google Drive so that all the computers at the fire department are networked together so that I can sit at my desk and work on a document and the officers can see it on their desk as I'm working on it, and the firefighters can see it on the desk out in the classroom as I'm working on it. They can edit, and we can all share files, and it is just going to make us a lot more streamlined. This will allow us to have a network printer to scan receipts, so that receipts are stored to files, and then I can email those receipts to you. Cuts down on the paper, cuts down on lost receipts, and there'll be a policy in place so that if we get the marathon card, if we get gas on that, they take the receipt straight back to the fire department, slap it on the scanner, scan it in, put it in a file for fuel receipts, and I just email that file every month. Sorry, my phone locked out. Oh, okay, he will be here in 10 minutes, so I can either continue babbling, or we can slide him in when he gets here and he can talk a lot more intelligently about this than I can.
Kurt.
Good evening, everybody. News from the Board of Commissioners. The 2018 delinquent tax revolving fund, we approved the county treasurer's request to borrow up to $7 million for delinquent tax revolving fund to preserve cash flow. The equalization report has been done. Tony Maillard presented it to us. There was quite a discussion that followed, and I saw that in the paper. Palisades has already been reduced 25%, and it's going to go down another 25% next year. Well, their income isn't going down, but the value of the plan is going down. And it was done according to how, the method is, evaluation is done in the state. So nothing we can do about it. I understand some of the legislators are already looking at something. No, it won't help us, but, in the future, basically they're saying, well, the plan is only worth X number of dollars, and as we get closer to closing, it's worth less and less, but they're still making the same money. So we believe they should be paid in taxes.
Off of that plant or elsewhere?
No, just in the plant, right? Just Palisades itself, since we're going to be closing in a couple of years. So we approved that equalization report. The 9/11 surcharge, we continued the surcharge. It was approved by the voters. The local is 75 cents per device, and the state surcharge is $117 for a total of $192. And that revenue is all used for 9/11. And that's the only thing that can be used for equipment and not dispatch. We had quite a lengthy discussion over a number of months about selling or swapping some of the land that we own at Syndicate Park, which is over the other side of South Haven. If you remember seeing that, but there were lots that years and years ago, if you bought a subscription to the Chicago Tribune, I don't know for how long, they gave you a lot. It was like or something like that, so they're really worthless now, and we got it back. I got a bunch of them back from taxes, and somebody wanted to do some swapping there, and we decided, no, we didn't want to get into that, so we didn't.
So what are we gonna keep that land for then?
Well, it's critical dune area right now, and the guy that wanted to do some swapping, he was gonna, get part of the critical dune, and that dune is moving continuously. So, we just decided that because of the critical dune area, we didn't want to get involved in swapping that. Let's see, new culvert generating, is going on. We decided along with Culver Township to appeal the decision of the Michigan Tax Tribunal for 2016. They're also contesting it. This appeal is for 2016 only, and we also have to decide 2017 and 18, but we feel what happens with this 2016 will go forward, what's going to happen in the last 2 years that they're going to be appealing that. Our audit came back, showed we have a fund balance of $7,349,093, which is 28.5 of the expenditures of $25,794,000. It's 20% of the recommended portion of fund balance compared to expenditures. County Commissioners appointed Celinda Gilmore, Scott Cedarquist, and Ray Martin as Vineyard County Planning Commissioners for terms expiring April 1st, 22. And John Paul and I met with the DNR out by, or if you know where North Point is at, this property that's next to the DNR park. And there's been a lot of problems there over the years. The DNR can't cross that line and go in there and do anything. Boy Scouts have camped there for years. Boy Scout, my kids, we used to camp there all the time. So what the plan is, if the DNR will accept it, we're going to allow them to lease it, and they'll take care of the reservations and everything, and so we don't have to worry about who's got the key and who's letting who in and all that kind of stuff. So that should be a good thing, and they can also kind of control the area too. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Did you hear anything more on the road that was there? I had heard that he signed papers that saying no contest or he wouldn't contest anything. Did you hear? No comment.
Thanks, Kurt.
Okay.
Mr. Lauder?
Good evening. Your priority care report for the month of April. We had priority 1 calls. There were 8 of them for an average response time of 12 minutes and 19 seconds. We had 1 call that was 21 minutes and 3 seconds coming from Hartford. It's the second call within 5 minutes. We had 10 calls for priority 2 in the area for 12 minutes and 47 seconds. And in priority 3 calls, there were 3 of them for an average response time of 12 minutes and 24 seconds. We had 21 calls total, averaging 12 minutes and 33 seconds. I believe you, John, you asked me about memberships?
Yes, I did, yes.
I said if I brought the other vehicle last time I was here, I had a bunch of these. I didn't have as many as I thought, but here's a good start for some membership applications. I'll bring more next meeting. Do you have any concerns, anything I should take back, any questions?
When you say, not a call, what did you say?
Priority calls?
Priority code
Right.
1, 2, and 3. How does that break down? Is that into?
Yeah, priority ones are life-threatening, usually not breathing, heart attacks, strokes, unconsciousness. Priority 2s, somebody might be sick, high blood pressure, bleeding, things like that. Priority 3s,
a lift assist?
3s will be a lift assist.
3 would be a lift assist.
So I have one question. It seems like the response times have gotten faster. How did that come about?
We are placing a car in the city of Bangor, 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, to help make the response times quicker for the general area.
Thank you.
Not a problem. The only questions, I'm going to excuse myself because I have a training committee meeting going on in Bangor, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving forward, supervisor's report, see, well, we did our spring cleaning the last week of April, that went well. The gel crew came and picked up many sites of dump trash on several roads throughout our township. I attended 3 road commission meetings. The board had their public hearing for the North Lake Assessment District. I will be attending the countywide supervisors meeting on Thursday. I've met with several residents in the Van Buren County Road Commission concerning a lot of the ditch work that needs to be done in our township. And just a note here, if this goes to all the trustees, if your spouse is requesting records, they are no different than anybody else. They need to waive those records. It's just because we have access to them doesn't automatically make your spouse accessible to those. We have our community event that's scheduled coming up next week. It's a yard sale. We've had a FOIA complaint by Mr. Huberty. He came in and spoke with me on Saturday. He had requested some information on the board of reviews that was in March of 2019. And he has plans to go to the tax tribunal to appeal. So we need to address that and making sure he gets all of those requested records. He only got records for 2015. Still focusing on all the projects out there for this year. With everything that's unexpected issues that's come up, we're still working on the outside lights, our handicap upgrades, and the township property, the lights, and our road plan. Clerk's report?
Pretty much business as usual. Payroll, invoices, filing, agendas, minutes, synopsis. We took care of, our North Lake Special Assessment District. And that was it for this month.
All right, treasurer's report?
Okay, this is my time in between property tax season, so it has been a little bit lighter, but it sure seems to be going fast. We do have an audit coming up. There was also, as mentioned, special meeting for North Lake. I've got the cash balances on the back table if anybody wants to see that. Also, we did get a notice from the county treasurer about some foreclosed properties, so I did distribute that list. They did mention something that I'd like to explore, and so far I don't have information on it. They mentioned in there about possibly teaming with the townships at a 50% rate on dangerous buildings. So that's very intriguing. I just don't know the ins and outs, if it only applies to the current foreclosures or if it's more widespread than that. That might really benefit us. I don't think it can. Also, I think a couple of us got an email from the Conservation District. They would like to send a little flyer in with our tax bill, which, as far as I'm concerned, unless anybody here objects, as long as they pay for it, we can let them make arrangements with our printer and get that done.
John? Trustee?
Well, there's a lot going down now. At my neighborhood watch meeting, we made a motion that the neighborhood watch would install a cemetery veterans plaque in the pole. On Memorial Day, everybody goes to the parade, everybody goes to Bangor, everybody goes over here, and the Township of Columbia has 3 cemeteries: Thompson, East and West Grand Junction. And there are many, many veterans buried in those cemeteries, and we felt it was time that we recognize them by installing a veterans monument that would include the flagpole, the flag, and a plaque. And that will be done I was going to have it done on Memorial Day weekend, but those that would participate in that thing are all busy naturally because Memorial Day, I'm in the American Legion, we got 2 parades going, and that's where the other members are in the Legion, VFW, and that's a very, very busy time for them. So what I've decided to do is have that next Saturday at 3 p.m. right here in Grand Junction West. And I'd like everybody to come out and support the veterans. I feel it's a long time since we had a physical monument in the cemetery that recognizes all 3. And that's exactly what we said yes to, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So next Saturday at 2 p.m., we're going to have that ceremony, and that's a full honor guard, 21-gun salute, raising of the flag.
2 p.m.?
2 or 3?
2 or 3.
Huh?
2 or 3 p.m.
Did I say 3 first?
Yes.
Yes.
2. Salute. 2. Okay, so, my meeting is the first meeting that is in, what day is it?
That'll be June 6th, the first Thursday.
June
right?
6th, one day before D-Day, how about that? It will be here at the Township Hall, and we will be discussing severe weather. Severe weather, boy, oh boy, is it all over the television now. So I want you to come, we'll have a member from the police department here, and he will give it, by the way, where is our guy from the police department?
Probably on the call.
I saw someone pulled over on 380, on my way here, so he may be busy.
Okay. Okay, so as far as the ball fields are concerned, it's been a wet spring, and we've got the condition of the ballparks in as good a condition as we can get it, but we haven't got the doctrine as far as how many teams and so forth. I'll have more on that at the next meeting. But do come to that installation, because that is something that Columbia Township needed, and we felt it should have it. That's it.
Thank you, John. Beverly?
We have our planning commission report. We had at Tuesday, May 14th, at that meeting, we had a public hearing. And one item was on the agenda for the public hearing. It was a special land use application from Mike Milky, hope I'm saying that correctly, for an accessory building located at 54-320 County Road 388. Site plan and application were reviewed, and the special land use application was approved for submittal to this board for consideration. Master plan update work continues. We reviewed and approved the draft goals, which Leslie and Christy had worked on and prepared for us. So we're putting in a lot of work on this. And next month, we'll continue working on the planning commission, starting with I think we'll be picking up at section 7. And during this meeting, it came to our attention that we're in need of updated zoning maps and some additional GIS maps that we would like for our master plan work, and intend to include in the finished master plan. And Tasha will investigate and decide exactly which maps we need to make the request.
Has everybody had an opportunity to look at all the minutes and expenditures? And if so, do we motion to accept the consent agenda?
I haven't had a chance to look over the most current meeting minutes.
Need to add that there's special meeting minutes in there too for the 16th. Regular and special, 4/16/19. Yeah, regular meeting and special.
Okay, got a 416.
Regular, yep, and then we have a 416 special.
Oh,
We had a 6 p.m. before our last meeting,
okay.
that's regular meeting. We never did the whole meeting.
Would you like to take any minutes and then come in, or do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Outside it?
All in favor, Beverly?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Linda, yes. Motion passes. Moving forward, any additions or comments on the agenda that we have? No, I need a motion to accept this agenda.
What we just approved?
This is the,
Make a motion.
the second.
Second.
All in favor, Beverly?
Yes.
John?
No, yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Jason?
Are we proving the new business to do, is that what?
Never approving.
Yeah.
Yes.
At this point, we'll take a 3-minute public comment. Anybody have a quick 3 minutes? We gotta move forward. Like, we have Mr. Snyder here.
Yes.
You want to go ahead and give us a quick rundown, Kevin?
Yeah, just right. Specific.
Take your voice, shoot the joint.
Okay.
The board.
Okay. So, Mr. Johnson called me in to the fire department to look at their IT and, updates and things that they have going on. And we had a discussion about, transferring the email system that they're using to Google Apps, which you guys as a government entity get for free. And he mentioned that his email address actually comes from you guys, not the fire department itself. So to upgrade their email accounts, we have to upgrade all of your email accounts. And I reached out to Bloomingdale Communications, who currently services your email accounts, and they're more than willing to work with you on that because they would prefer you upgrade to Google Apps anyway, which is a platform they're actually using, but they have you guys on the old Squirrel Mail system. So I came here today just to say, work with him and get his stuff upgraded. I'd like to work with you guys and get your stuff upgraded at the same time and move the entire system over to Google Apps.
We just
As
did a
I
bunch
met-
of upgrades and updates and everything.
Yeah, Dave and I talked about this a little bit prior to this, and we do have a township IT person, and that's Roy Newsberg.
Mhm.
And at the very least, you and Roy should talk before something happens, but if it's now impacting the whole township, there needs to be continuity.
Mhm.
And I don't know anybody up here that feels qualified to get into the nuts and bolts necessarily, whether it makes sense to me that you and Roy would talk. I don't know how the rest of you folks feel about that. But if it's impacting the whole township email, we can't just let the fire department be dictating that. I mean,
No,
Well, no,
that's why
I don't
I'm
want
here.
to.
That's why I'm here,
right.
because we don't want to do that. That wasn't the plan. Yeah.
So you wanna just exchange phone numbers and you guys can talk about
you-
what?
Just give Roy's information over to Mr. Johnson, and I'll get it from him. And then we'll go from there.
Is there anything else?
Do you have any
You guys wanna
direct
sit in on
questions
it
or
or no?
concerns that you guys have
I just don't, I
with
would
the whole
like,
thing?
before any changes are made, that you come back to the board and let us know what the final outcome is.
This is the first I've heard of it tonight, so I don't even know what questions to ask. I need to give it some thought. I'm sure it's not a bad thing, but At this point, I don't.
Roy is not opposed to Google, he mentioned that, so that's, you know, that was one of my first questions.
Kevin, Karen and I spoke about security.
Yep.
How, I mean,
So, it was, we kind of brought up a little bit too, so the question of security was raised when the whole idea was first presented. And there was mention of purchasing hardware here and installing it here. And so Google uses 256-bit encryption on everything they do. To duplicate that here, you're looking at $10,000 to start, to get that level of security. Or you can use Google's platform for free because you're a government entity. That's a service that they provide to all government education entities. We all get it for free. So I'm not opposed to purchasing you a server and installing it and setting it up, but that seems really cost ineffective. When you
I'm
can get
opposed to that, just for
Right, that's great.
I'll agree with that one.
Because we're the product, that's what.
Right, I'm wondering why it's free, since that's all.
It's free because you're a government entity.
Yeah.
So it's Columbia Township that actually gets the service for free. So it's not you guys specifically, it's the township itself as a municipal government. Any government education institution, libraries, everybody gets that for free from Google,
And
just
what
as
do
a
they
service.
get in return? Nothing?
They don't take anything in return. Everything's free, 100%. You can ask any of the local schools for feedback on how it works and everything because we all use it.
Now, you indicated that you would still be somehow involved with Bloomingdale Telephone, or not?
Bloomingdale currently hosts your email service,
Right.
and they would work with myself and Roy to transfer that service to Google. Now, they still own your domain, and they register all your web presence is all done through them, and that would remain the same. We wouldn't be looking to change anything from that perspective, just where the email is being stored and how you access it.
And why are we wanting to change? How we're currently accessing?
We want to upgrade
it?
the fire department's email
I'm
service
just
so
trying
that
to
he can provide email addresses for all of his firefighters, and they
we
can
couldn't
use
do that through Bloomingdale.
Well,
they can use the online Google storage so they can all communicate all the time on any device, and everything's all there, which they can't do on the existing Squirrel Mail service because all it does is email.
and if I email from my phone, when I get on my laptop, it's not on there. When you email from my phone on Google and you get on my laptop, on my Google account, it's there. It's on the fire department computer. It's on every device you sign on to.
Because Linda emails from her phone, and I do get it on that.
Well, no. If I send you an email from my phone,
Okay,
and then I'm sitting in front of my laptop and my phone is dead, I can't find that email from Bloomingdale on my laptop. I can show you emails that I sent from my laptop last night that are not on my phone. It does not link the electronics. It doesn't cross over.
Squirrel Mail is a really old platform that they offered because it was free when they got it almost 20 years ago now. And for them, it doesn't make any sense to upgrade it because they moved everybody over to the other services.
And if we go this route, we have a Google Drive to where I can make documents and just store them at the drive, and then JC can come in and look at them and add, take away. We'll have our timesheets for the part-time personnel in that drive. They can get in them, fill out their timesheet online. I can email them to the board, and it cuts down on the paper. It cuts down on, just the headache of tracking the paper, delivering the paper, picking up the paper. That way I just email it, it's done, it's faster, it's more reliable.
Can I just throw in one thing? It gives you real-time data
Yeah.
right now. For everybody, anybody that's attached to it, it's real-time data.
Is there similarity between that and like Apple's iCloud?
Sort of. So iCloud doesn't provide
Right,
email
sharing
service.
and things
It
like that.
does have a file storage system, but not file sharing. So if you wanted to share the files out, you have to use either Dropbox or AirDrop, which is another service that you have to set up.
Anybody else have any questions for Kevin?
What's the timeline?
Pending approval from Roy and you guys, it takes about 15 minutes.
Oh.
That's a good timeline.
Okay.
Yeah, it's literally just a phone call to Bloomingdale, and we make some changes on the back end that nobody ever sees, and then we'll all have email transfer to a different location. And then we would work with you guys to get it set up on whatever device you wanted it set up on.
Then that eliminates people having to possibly use personal emails, opening them up to FOIA and all kinds of issues.
Yeah, at that
I don't
point,
think anyone should be using their personal email.
They should not.
at that point, everything will be run through the township email service, so, whoever the supervisor would be at the time would have access to the system, and then I would guess Roy would be set up in the system, so that there's an administrator in the system all the time, and then if you guys need records or something, it's all available to you all the time, pretty much forever.
Any other questions?
Access and passwords from my end, I'm just gonna say right now, Roy's the only one that needs them.
So he won't have access to any of the passwords.
No,
Okay.
nobody has that.
Nobody has, Google doesn't allow anybody to have access to your password. So the only people that have access to your password are you and whoever you specifically give it to. So even as an admin, the only way for him to log in and look at your account is either for you to give him your password, or he can log in and reset the password and log in as you, and then you're notified that the password was reset, and put the date and timestamp and who the administrator was that reset the password.
Roy is the administrator.
Any other questions for Kevin? Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Under unfinished business, we have the gas bill contract.
Couple minutes ago.
Is that in the packet you had on the table tonight, or do we have it?
So looking at it, I only see one change from 2003 as far as the price goes. Casey, did you see any difference?
Not too much, but I was hoping for maybe some more, descriptions to, Keith. I guess, it's just like Jeff.
Yeah.
At this time, I think I would feel more comfortable in the table and looking on next month and we can get rid of the gas person, get rid of no clarification.
Yeah, but you've got under here too, assistant and helper, $10 per hour, go to 12. That needs to be
And that should
addressed.
be on us if he's a contractor, so.
But that's the thing that needs to be, I think, looked into too, is he is on our payroll and not,
Right.
I mean, he's under Jeff as a worker, but he's on our
He's on our
payroll. He
payroll,
doesn't like pay him under him. But they do have other workers that I've noticed that they pay, come and help too.
Under salary, yeah.
So that's what I was hoping for, a more clarified contract, I guess, and it still is very lacking of those things.
So I would like to go ahead and table this and ask him to come in and speak with us. And get a full clarification.
So what would our question then be to Jeffrey? To do what? More?
Well, we have to clarify how much the hourly wage will be.
Okay.
And I think that the board approved with the resolution at this point in time, the $10 per hour.
That's what he's under now, yeah.
Voted on, and updated to include Keith in here more because we pay Keith,
Right,
not Jeff paying Keith. The township pays.
right.
Is it possible that this was
So-
intentional, that they just list assistant helper and not Keith?
I don't know. But I guess maybe state what if they're both gonna be doing this then, you know, is that what goes on? Does one do one, one do the other? Because right now it looks like, that's Jeff doing this stuff, but I see a lot of Keith doing it under the assistant.
This doesn't look like a contract about the Sparks Road.
No, it doesn't.
So we would table this.
Yes, I think we need to.
Get a little more clarification, and maybe they might need a little help with how to write it, or filling in our questions.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we table this contract.
I'll second.
All in favor, Beverly?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Move on to the next contract with the Michigan Township Services. And I think the only change is the date on this one. I remember saying. And it's a yearly contract.
Now, you say you think the only difference was
Yeah,
the date,
that's the
but
only
did anybody
thing.
really have a chance to look at this? I know I have not.
I looked it over last one too when it was presented, and Tasha also looked it over when I sent it to her, and I was looking if she also took
Okay.
note and
It was
changed
the
it.
date, yeah.
Like the date, yeah. I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and accept the contract.
I'll second.
All in favor, Beverly?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Our first item is the North Lake Aquatic Plant Control, the SAD, Resolution 19-1. We've held several public hearings on this. We're to the point of doing the resolution to accept it and get it rolling for them. I believe all the board members have had plenty of time to look at this. Is there anything, anybody have any questions on?
I just think if they have any other questions, it goes between the association and the person, I think. As far as the board is concerned, we know what we can do.
If you'd like me to make a comment,
No.
so today's resolution was approved the special assessment role, all right?
Yes.
And we have had two public hearings. The first was on the plans, the costs, and creating the district, and the second was on May 4th. That was on the roll. So tonight, if the board adopts this resolution, it would be to certify the roll. Anybody who had any protest or wanted to protest at that point has to go directly to the Michigan Tax Tribunal. So it can't come back to this board,
Right.
and they have 30 days to do that. So if the board moves ahead, anyone who wants to protest their inclusion in the district or the amount of their assessment needs to go right to the Michigan Tax Tribunal.
Okay.
All right? Does any other questions?
No, that sounds good to me.
So do we have a motion to accept this resolution?
I make a motion, we accept it.
Second,
All in favor, Beverly?
yes.
John?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Motion passed. And I do certify that the assessment roll was checked and double checked, so it's
So you're gonna have to sign that, and you're gonna have to sit with the roll.
And then we also have a warrant for collection that needs to be signed.
Yeah, so ultimately, when it's time to collect those assessments, the clerk can sign this document, she gives it to the treasurer, and the treasurer effectuates the assessment being added to the tax bill. Okay?
And also we have a resolution, next item is the resolution to improve the revolving loan fund. So this is establish a Columbia Township Improvement Revolving Loan Fund. And that is,
You need to
Yes,
explain that?
please.
Okay.
Give me clarification.
Sure. Under the same statute that you can do special assessments, the Township Improvement Statute, there is ability to establish a revolving fund. This can be for any special assessment that you develop under this act in the future, and allows, if the collection of assessments isn't going to happen, say, to the winter tax bill, but the project is started this summer and you need to pay out money that money can be transferred from the township general fund into this township improvement revolving fund. There's the ability to charge interest up to 5%, and then when the money is collected through the tax bill, you will pay back from the revolving fund into the general fund. So it allows a methodology to pay for the project before the assessments are collected. And once you establish this fund, it can be for any special assessment project that is created under this law. Okay?
On item 2, there's a transfer dollar amount.
Yeah, so you may want to decide here as a board, how much would you transfer? I forget how much this project is for the first year. I'm sure someone can tell me. Of the special assessment, I think it was $150,000 over how many years is it each year?
$19,200 per year.
So you would have to do like a special, resolution if we ever wanted to use it again for something else,
Well,
we had to change that number in there.
Yes, you could. The next time around, if there was another project, you could just say, we now are adopting a different resolution to
Okay,
transfer a different amount.
Yeah.
But if you do this here, this is specifically for the North Lake Aquatic Plant Control District, this one. So in the next time around, if another one came up, a road project or something, you could just mirror this resolution with the name and the amount of money.
Okay, so that needs, I guess we need to clarify that the one that we're doing now is only going to cover North Lake.
Plant
let's make sure.
District number 19-1.
We're saying that it covers any special assessment that we do, but this one is only gonna cover North Lake.
That's correct. I guess I should have been more clear that this method you can use in other instances. So you do need to determine the amount of money to include in section 2 if you adopt this resolution.
They'll make it to the tax roll on time now? No?
I think we're gonna make it.
So just in case.
Yes.
So do we want to put a dollar amount in this time?
He said, well, 19,000 is what, and some change is what the project's name might be.
So you're going to just do a flat 20 down?
That's,
No, we
don't ask
we
me.
wouldn't want to put in more than we're gonna collect.
Okay, so it's 19.
Right. Am I looking at this
Sure.
correctly?
I just
Because
wonder
all
about
we're doing is fronting them a little bit from something that's pretty much locked in. Now, for instance, if somebody didn't pay their tax bill on time, there would be a delay before we ever actually collect it.
Right.
So whether or not we want to push it the whole amount, I'm just throwing that out there now, before we fill in the money.
I'm asking what the board would like to do this month. What do you think?
What is the,
I don't feel comfortable switching any of it because we're already in a hair's mess with moving money around in accounts.
if we make it in time, we're probably not gonna need this. You have never been in the spot so far, right, other than, was there maybe one consumer's energy bill your association paid rather than?
Want me to address the background of this problem at this point or not?
This is kind of new.
Yeah, we're gonna make it walk. That's fine. Good evening, I'm Al Windorf, President of North Lake Property Owners Association. We've had a SAD going since 2008 on North Lake, first steps working with you. There's always problems between the timing of the funds and when the bills are due. And this will help us kind of bridge through that, and we understand there's an interest payment to it, but our interest, obviously, as property owners, is to try to do the best we can for this lake, which is trying to time when we do things. And you don't want to turn, if we turn the aerators on in April, we want to turn them on in April, which means we have electric bills showing up. If the money's not there, there's no value in aerator if it's not running, for instance. Same thing with, there's bioaugmentation we do. This last year, we had to wait until August to do the bioaugmentation because the money wasn't there, yet our scientists that are advising us what to do, said it should have been done in June. So we lost 2 months of the value of that treatment program because we didn't have the funds just available due to the timing of the property tax bills. And as we work with the people that we're working with and work with, you, we would like to try to create the most optimal program to get the best results over time. And ideally, we may be able to reduce even the cost of this program by becoming more efficient at it. Because, we want to get the biggest bang for the buck by following the scientific advice we're getting and let them tell us when to spend the money. And then, but they clearly expect to be paid. And right now, we don't have that flexibility, and this would be a tremendous way to help us through that going forward. And that's why we're supporting this resolution. Any
If
questions?
you don't have the ones, what happens then?
If you don't have it, you don't transfer it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so passing this, and even filling in the dollar amount doesn't mean we're executing it now.
Well, it
just
does
means
say
we
the township
could.
board hereby authorizes the transfer of a certain amount of money from its general fund to the Columbia Township revolving fund. So it creates the fund and then it authorizes transfer. So if you would prefer to revise section 2 to say the township board at a future date may authorize the transfer of $19,000. Yeah, up to $19,000. If you'd like to do that, that may cover your concern that it may not be needed and you don't want to transfer it, it's not needed.
I think that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
So you could revise section 2 to say that the township board may authorize at a future date at the board's determination, comma, the transfer of up to $19,000 from its general fund. The first subsection creates the fund, which I think is important for you to have, and then thereafter the second subsection of this would allow you at a future meeting to authorize that transfer if it's appropriate. Allows you to attach interest of up to 5% per year, as allowed by the statute.
So then with those corrections and updates, do I have a motion to go ahead and accept this resolution?
Motion.
Do I have a second? I'll make that second. All in favor, Beverly?
Yes.
John?
Yes, I understand it, yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Stacy?
No.
Oh, dear. Moving forward. Consideration of payment related policy is the 2019-1. Has everybody had an opportunity to read this?
No, let's go over it again.
Okay,
Actually, I'd like to make a motion to table it.
I can do that. Do we have a motion to table?
I'll second that.
All in favor, Beverly?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Moving on. Consideration of the credit card policy and procedure 2019. Anybody have input on that?
I was glad to see a policy here, that I do have some issues with this, a few points of it, I feel like it could be a little, stronger, but I was thinking that maybe we might want to table this and work on it a little further.
Yeah, just those suggestions. I think we need to add an amount limit, and I think we already have a policy. We do. A smaller one, but I think that was also, something that was part of that one that we already have. Beth, did you make a
I'd like to
motion?
I'd like to make a motion to table it, yes.
And I'll second it.
All in favor, Beverly?
Yes. Do we need
Yes.
any discussion at all now?
Yes, go ahead.
Just another thing that barely touched on in here, but as we revise this, because we probably do need to update our credit card policy. But, we did get the suggestion of a voucher arrangement where within 5 days after any charge comes up, we have a pre-printed voucher slip, you attach your receipt, and you're turning them in as they occur rather than waiting till the end of the month. In the hope then that they're already here when the statement comes, to speed that up. And we also need to address what happens in those circumstances when there is no slip available. And what we've run into is we want to speed it along so we're not getting all these late charges, but we also want to encourage that we are in fact getting receipts. And maybe have some kind of a warning of how many times somebody cannot have a receipt before they can't have their card.
Exactly.
And that's not really what the focus seemed to be here, and I was the one who brought up that we needed to update our policy, and then,
So this is the first step.
yeah, so I just wanted to get that out so that we don't
Do you
come
think
here
you
next
should put
month
within
and
so many
still
days?
not have.
You think you should put something within so many days they have that receipt out?
Yeah, we received that, recommendation partly because it's worked well in other places.
Okay.
And there's always a short amount of time from when the statements get mailed
Mm-hmm.
until they're received here and distributed to the card holders, and then they have, gathering of the receipts. Whereas if they're already here, I think it's gonna be a quick process. Stacy, did you have a thought on that? This might be the first you've heard of that concept.
Well, that's kind of how it generally went in the past, whenever anybody made a charge, they automatically right away would bring their receipt.
So they're not
File it
usually
right.
waiting for the,
No, they didn't usually do it
Okay.
like you guys.
I feel like we should be
Which,
making all the
which
late
I didn't
charges.
mind, because and then you guys had responsibility for your own receipts, and it
Right.
wasn't just on me, so I didn't mind that so much. But
Right.
prior, they would just, if they ain't charged, they would drop it in my box or give it to me right away, because I would generally get their, and then when they, I'd give them their bills like I do you guys, and they would get back, and I would attach their receipts to it, like we do.
yeah. So definitely, the clerk and the treasurer have the most involvement on this, and we weren't the ones that wrote it. So maybe she and I can look at this a little bit too and see what's gonna actually work mechanically for us, besides the goal of paying things on time and not having the late fees.
And not to include in the policy, but just a suggestion for anyone handling receipts. What I do personally, a lot of times at home, so that if I might want to return something, I snap a photo of my receipts before I put them away, because I'm one at home that tends to lose them.
Okay, so we did have a motion out there to table this as written, but that's where we left off.
So we will table this, and we have a motion by Beverly, second by John, and we had discussion. We are all in favor, Beverly, yes?
Yes.
John, was yes? Karen?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Moving forward. Planning commission, recently have a professor voting.
No, on closed session, I'm not comfortable with why we're.
We got one above
Not
there.
there yet.
We're,
This one?
Accessory building.
The other agenda, the second one. Yeah.
Small
Alright.
that might be.
Okay, I
Yeah, she, we have to get that on there for Mr. Mackey.
Coming out of the professor voting. What's the next one? Anything else to add?
Is wrong with the plate wrong?
Oh, I think I have it in there.
Yeah, what's the copy of it?
that's the restaurant, huh?
Mm-hmm, yeah, see, here's where,
Yeah,
and there's where the auto thing is,
yeah.
and pretty much where that concrete slab is. It's a
Where's
storage
the red
house,
house? Where's the railroad?
right here.
That's what I thought, yeah, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the accessory building.
I'll second it.
All in favor, Beverly?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Linda, yes. Motion carries. Moving forward, planning commission and Tasha have been working on the zoning text amendment that was sent to the county for approval, and it looks like it came back and they have approved it. Now it's up to the board. Any questions on this? Any opportunity?
Was that done by the planning commission or the ZBA send that over?
Oh, you know what, I think it's maybe,
I was just wondering what was changed in it versus the copy I have now.
Yeah, you can't really tell what the changes were on that.
So remember, the planning commission has to have the public hearing on any zoning ordinance text amendment. So, it looks like they're changing the standards for the variances to add a new one saying, I don't know, it looks like, I don't think I wrote this, so I'm not exactly sure what the changes are. And I think some of your planning commissioners are here, maybe you could tell us what the changes are. It's not familiar to me.
We did this 2 months ago. I don't quite remember. I believe a lot of it were, Dave, do you remember? A lot of it was typographical typos.
Was this the one that was the checklist?
No.
ZBA, this is not one.
Yeah, this is for the ZBA, yeah.
There's
They're
one that was more
requiring
of a checklist for them, just to make things easier and more clear. Everybody can move in on it.
It was to give them a better tool to, it was to give them a better tool for understanding if a variance should be granted or not.
So put standards in the ordinance for them to follow.
Yeah.
Did it change the standards that were there at all, or did it just?
Honestly, I'm not sure because it's the ZBA.
Well, okay. So the ZBA made some recommendations and then they came into an ordinance format. So, I don't exactly know what the changes are. So, I would imagine though, having worked with, I'm imagining either Tasha prepared that or.
We worked with Tasha, yes.
Okay. So the only way you amend the zoning ordinance is by adopting an ordinance, and it sounds like the planning commission held a public hearing, it went to the county planning commission, they said there were no issues, and they had no issues with it. So it's back to you all, if you don't understand what it all encompasses, then either you can table it, or you could ask for, a report from the planning commission, Natasha, to summarize what the changes are. That might help. Might make it easier. I'm not familiar with it, I'm not seeing it.
Well, I think if the board has any questions, then I don't see a problem in tabling it. It's kind of a procedural ordinance for them. And then we can have Tasha at the next meeting, maybe, possibly, or
she could prepare
she
a
can,
report.
yeah.
What would the board like to do?
Was that a motion?
I'll make a motion to table it, yeah, so I'd rather have everyone understand it.
Oh, second.
All in favor, Beverly?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Moving forward.
Oh, don't forget, we got a cop now.
Oh, Stacy? You wanna give us your quick report?
Did I see you with your lights flashing on County Road 380
You did.
about an hour ago? Glad they weren't behind me.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
For the month of April 2019, I traveled a total of 1,018 patrol miles. There were 85 property inspections completed, 0 assist to other agencies, 2 assists to the Van Buren County Sheriff's Department. I handled 31 total complaints with 3 liquor inspections, and I attended 4 separate trainings for April: active assailant training, lien training, firearms training, and defensive tactics training. There was a total of 117 dispatch calls and units for the month of April. By department, those were 45 EMS, 6 fire, 60 police, 0 animal control, 5 wrecker, and 1 medical examiner. The police incidents include 10 assaults, 20 general assists, 6 suspicious situations, 4 medical assists, 1 trespass, 4 alarms, 1 stolen vehicle, 2 larcenies, 5 traffic crashes, 2 obstructing justice, 1 civil dispute, 1 OWI, 1 MDOP, and 2 B&Es. I know John likes to hear about the B&Es.
We sound like we got a bunch of grumpy people in this town.
There were, the 2 B&Es. One was an occupied family dwelling. Actually, it was a family member that broke into the house to simply do damage to the house. So nothing was stolen. And the second B&E, it is a vacant, home, which exists on the northern edge of our,
Yeah, my big.
yep, and the things that were taken, it was unlocked, and there were furnace parts taken. And for the blight report, there was a residence on Huron Street where the blight cleanup was completed. On Middle Street, a dumpster has been purchased for the property and delivered and is currently being filled. On County Road 215, there is a home where a gentleman has recently been deceased. His family had been gutting the home, and as of right now, most of the trash has been cleaned up. I will monitor for further accumulations of trash. On County Road 380, there's a residence where several blight vehicles have been removed, and they are currently working on obtaining a dumpster to clean up numerous amounts of trash. Also, I'd like to announce in the month of April, the jail crew did come, and they cleaned up. They did a wonderful job. At the point where I spoke to him, which was right in the middle of the day, he had already picked up 3 truckloads of tires throughout the whole township. The only issue was that that was during the week where we had gotten a lot of rain.
Yeah.
So there were some areas that they were unable to get to due to flooding, but he said that they will return to the township when everything dries out and get those areas hit. Is there any comments, questions, concerns?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Over the railroad track, you got a blue house with a bunch of crap in front of it. Can we, maybe the fire department can have a party, throw a match on it and get rid of it?
Yes, we are currently, working on that residence. The homeowner, is letting it go back to the bank. So they
Yeah,
don't
but
care.
what a bunch of crap
No.
on it.
I haven't found the owner yet. I don't know, they haven't changed their address through the Secretary of State or anything, so we are working on locating them. At this point, it does appear though, and I don't know who did this or how it happened, all that stuff was strewn about the property, and then somebody made a nice pile in front of the residence.
They sure did.
It was thought that maybe the homeowner at one point, because that was the week of the cleanup, thought that maybe the township would be coming to clean up all the property. When they are located, the situation will be resolved.
Throw a match on it and get rid of it.
Some nice furniture out there, you can have.
Yeah, right.
Any more questions?
Oh, yes, thank you.
They don't throw matches on tiles and stuff.
I have a question, Dale. It's about the county sheriff's procedure. When you make a call there, and so it was 1:30 in the morning, Saturday night, I was coming home, and it was foggy, and I thought there was something in the road. It was really big, and I guess I need to get some glasses. So I turned on my bright, slow down, and at this intersection, there were 2 men sitting in the road with no shirts on. So I, of course, called the sheriff, and I called the next day to see what happened, because I thought, this is really where those guys, there's something wrong going on there, because normal people don't do that. And it was in the middle of nowhere. 52nd, 24th, right at the road there. And they said they didn't, that maybe no one was there when they came there, but they had no report of anything.
Well, our dispatchers do not have, well, they can look into our reports and see if there's something there, but if it was, you called the morning after.
No, I called right when it happened.
No, but what I'm saying is,
Oh,
when you called to
I
see
called,
what had
yeah, the next
happened,
day, yeah.
they may not have had all the information, and there may be nothing in there, because, like they said, when somebody gets dispatched, they'll respond, and if nobody can be located anywhere, then there's.
Okay, so is there a report somewhere though that says we were called and we went there?
Yes, once dispatch is contacted, it is all logged into their system. They probably ask you for your name, your phone number, the exact location. They didn't ask for any of that?
No.
Usually people get irritated
And I
with them
just
because they
assumed
ask
that
them
they
that
were
question.
getting all that from caller ID or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, I called from my cell phone because I didn't want to wait to call. I called right away.
that's
'cause
true.
it's at the end of my road, so of course I was, well, any road I'd be
Yeah.
concerned.
I can't
I
speak for
almost ran
exactly
over
what
that
happened.
over.
Yeah, I can't speak for exactly what happened, but
I'm just.
I
trying to
always
wait
monitor the
for it.
reports, and I myself didn't see one either, so I can't give you an outcome of that situation, but my best guess would be that they did respond, like a be on the lookout was put out for the two individuals, and when they got there, they went up and down and all around the roads and couldn't find anybody at all.
Okay, it really worries me.
Absolutely.
And they did, just for everyone out here to know, what they said to me is, when I do call like that, if I want to know what happened, that I should tell them at the point of the call, please call me back and let me know how it turned out.
That's true, you can request.
Realize
yeah.
that, okay.
Yes, if you want officer contact, you can always request that, and they will contact you once everything is resolved and finished.
Okay. And thank you
Okay.
for everything you do.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you so much.
Nothing to say. What would you do?
Well, I have concerns because I think that you're clerking for them, correct? Okay. You don't think that's a conflict of interest at all between Greenville and Columbia Township? You don't think that you take the information gathered here and go back and use it over with Greenville and all?
Point of order.
No? And you're gonna continue on clerking for Greenville while you're
Can we get a legal opinion?
supervisor of Columbia?
Yes, this question was brought to my attention. I've done some just quickly preliminary research, but we look at the Incompatible Public Offices Act. I have a copy for everybody. And the two offices, public offices held by a public official. Now, in a village, a clerk is not an elected official, they are an employee, okay? So, but what the Incompatible Offices Act, Public Offices Act says, incompatible offices are public offices held by a public official which, when the official performing the duties of any of the public offices, results in any of the following with respect to those offices. And I have copies of the statute for the board. Subordination of one public office to another, which means the supervision of one public office to another. So Supervisor Norton, working at the village of Reedsville as an employee, her position as supervisor, she doesn't supervise herself in the village as an employee. Moreover, her position as an employee at the village is not subordinate to her position of supervisor of the township, or does it cause a breach of duty of either office. She's an employee over there. She's not an elected official. She's an elected official here, so it's not a breach of duty. If there is another statute, Standards of Conduct of Public Officials, which I didn't bring with me tonight, but that has to deal with using information you gain through elected office and using it for personal purposes or other things like that. So if that's what your concern is, I can look at that statute as well. All I did for tonight was look at the Incompatible Public Offices Act.
Okay.
So right now, with that, I don't see the two off because she's an employee for the village. She's not an elected official. If she was on the village council, I'd be saying something different, because then if we had any contracts between the two entities, or there would be a breach of her duty, she couldn't serve on both sides of that. But I don't see it as she's just essentially, that's the difference between a township, a clerk and a township's elected official. A clerk in the village is an employee. But the concern is a valid one if you think there's some other things that may be done between the two positions. And I will get you a copy of the standards of conduct for public officials. It's a different statute. And I didn't bring it tonight, so I'm sorry about that. But I will give you each a copy of the statute, you can look it over. And then if there's further questions, you can let me know. So that's my quick legal opinion in terms of the relationship to Supervisor Norton's job at the Village of Breedsville versus her elected position here. This is the law. And if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Is there something called a conflict of loyalty? Is that even a legal term, or is that a different matter? I heard that term a couple of years ago.
Well, in this act I just mentioned, one of the ways you can be in violation and have two incompatible offices if you breach your duty performing one, if you breach your duty to another. So for instance, if you had two conflicting offices, she could not say, I'm not going to vote at Columbia Township because it would affect my vote over here at the Village of Breedsville. That's a breach of duty. You have to be able to perform your duties in both offices. And if when you're performing those duties, if you have to stop from performing them, that's a breach. So I'm not sure about conflicting loyalties. There is another statute, the Standards of Conduct of Public Officials, which talks in great detail about if you use information you've gained, if you do things for personal purposes, if you take in, things you've learned through your elected position and use them for your own personal means or ends. And that's a different analysis than what I thought I was analyzing tonight. So, we can look at that as well, but in terms of Supervisor Norton working for the Village of Breedsville, I don't see a conflict.
She doesn't vote.
No, she's an employee. She's like Rhonda is here. So, it's not an elected position, it's an employee position, and that's the difference between a township and a village, in essence.
And maybe this is obvious, but does this also mean then that somebody that's living in Breedsville, because I don't understand this, are they also living in Columbia Township? I mean, if you look at a map, you certainly see
Yes,
that.
they are.
But municipality-wise, that,
Yeah, so, the village is located within the township, and so people who are in the village are also residents of the township, but all of their municipal control is through the village. And they may have their own zoning, I don't know if they do, they may have their own, there's extra taxes assessed, there's probably other services they get through the village, but they're also residents of the township. I am, if Supervisor Norton was on both the village council and the township board, yes, then I think we have a conflict, because if there was ever a contract or any type of contractual relation between the two, I have, I have places where I have a township board member who works for the water and sewer authority, for instance. And, the question comes, is that a conflict of interest? Well, the minute they begin to negotiate his contract as an employee of the water and sewer authority, then I think we have an incompatible office situation. But we haven't gotten there yet. So, you can't be on both sides of the contract. There's certain things you can't do. I don't see that to be a problem in this situation right now. But if there's more that I don't know about the story and people want to tell me, then that's certainly okay too.
Well, I just don't think so, and I just hope that it don't ever become a problem, and I would like to resolve it before it ever does, and it just becomes worrisome to me, because it's a very gray area.
I understand what you're saying, and
it can easily be abused.
I understand. So if there's more information, if you have specific information
And
that
I
I
don't
need to look
appreciate,
at.
sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, I don't appreciate you sitting on this board. I wouldn't put you guys all in that situation. I don't want to end up in a situation I'm trying to cover myself.
I'm Larry Bishop. I'm on the board of the Village of Breezeville, and she is an employee. She has no vote whatsoever. And she does very good work for us and very good work for the township. So I don't see whether it's a problem, and our lawyer said also, because I talked to him, that there's no legal issue here. Thank you.
I would just like to say, to make a comment on this, that, I'm glad it's not a conflict. And, I am glad that, I feel like some people are gonna be upset that Stacy brought this forward, but I feel like it's always better to bring something forward that you're thinking is much better than being out there saying it to people. Say it to all the people up here so that it can be resolved in the light of day, the way it should be.
I'm gonna move up the, public comments at this time. Anybody have any public comments?
Basically, just two things. One, every time I go onto the webpage, I find something that's not right. Okay? Like the meetings are listed at 7:30, not at 7 o'clock.
Are you looking at our site or the Van Buren County?
No, Common Township. You change like the headers and everything else, but it comes up that the meetings, and then the office hours still haven't been changed to, from, on Wednesday. That's just, okay. And then, just a general comment, just the fact that, with the planning commission and special use permits and, for building permits and all that type of stuff, there are laws, and I don't think we're not doing anything wrong, but there are laws that supersede what can be done when you're within 500 feet of a body of water. It's not the townships, but,
Riparian rights or something?
well, it's the soil and erosion maintenance that used to be the DNR. There's things that you can't do if you're within 500 feet. And I'm only bringing it up because we're on the island and everybody's within 500, all the property is within 500 feet. So, just a point of fact for things when you're taking things in consideration, that there are special permits and stuff if you're changing the lay of the land or all that kind of stuff. So it's something that I didn't even know about. I mean, because we just kind of, if you want to do something, try to get the right permits.
To land, then basically what you're saying, so careful how you.
Yeah, and like when your contractors and stuff like that get permits, they don't always consider the state permits, and I don't know if the township has anything to do with that. But it's just a little point of information that I never knew about. So, okay.
Anybody else have a public comment? Okay. This time, we're gonna move forward and go into a.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with it. I don't understand just what we're going in for. There seems to, in my mind, there has to be more
Okay, good.
public and then.
What's the written?
Okay, so we need to make a motion to go into closed session to meet with the township attorney regarding a written legal.
All right, so just so everyone knows, I was asked to prepare a written legal opinion on several of the issues that have been brought up by different members of this board. Including when we had a meeting in May and things were not, it wasn't a meeting, it was a public hearing. So I have prepared a written legal opinion. And I don't want to talk exactly what it's about out in public because that defeats the purpose. But that's what I've asked to do, and I have a series of probably 3 or 4 different things in this written legal opinion to talk about with the board.
We don't get that beforehand?
No, I usually bring them with me because they're supposed to be confidential, and then I hand them out when we're in closed session. That's what I generally do, for that reason.
I personally feel that we should have that before us, before we go into public, so that we can,
John, it's like when the planning commission got confidential information on someone's application. We did not have it here because it's too risky to lose a piece of paper that is confidential.
So in order,
Is there a lawsuit?
no, there's no pending litigation. It's not pending litigation.
Are we trying to avoid a lawsuit, possibly?
yeah, but not, we don't have one
I
right now.
don't understand this reason.
So there's different reasons to go into closed session. One of them is to discuss pending litigation. We don't have pending litigation. That's not what it is. The other exception, the one I'm talking about, is to go into closed session and discuss a written legal opinion with your attorney
Regarding
regarding issues. Now, if you don't want to go into closed session, that's perfectly fine. I don't care, okay?
internal issues, township issues?
Township issues.
Everything we do is township issues, is it not?
Sure, yes. So, we have to have a 2/3 vote of the board to go into closed session. So if we don't get the 2/3 vote, then we won't go into closed session. I'm just going to say I get numerous emails from different board members throughout the week asking he said, she said, what about this, what about that, numerous. And I'm going to try and address them in one setting so we don't keep running the tab every time I touch something. But I don't care. It's your guys' board, do what you want. I'm just saying.
What I like to say to that is, it's our board, but it's not our board, it's their board.
board,
We're
yeah.
here to serve them.
We already
A
have.
closed session is not to do something that's going to hurt anyone. It's to
No.
protect this township and to protect the board and to get ourselves on board together and to hear what we're paying our attorney for.
We have an open meetings act violation already, correct?
Yes, we do.
And you want to go into closed session again? With an open meetings act
If we
violation.
go
on
into
the
closed
board right
session
now.
tonight, it's not a violation. And it's my job to keep this board on track as much as possible because we have no FOIA or OMA insurance. So, I'm just saying, do what you wish. I continue to get emails from different people on this board asking me very detailed questions about application of fact to law. And I have prepared a written legal opinion to answer those questions. If you want to hear the answers, go into closed session. If you don't, I will leave and we'll turn off the tab right now.
Is it safe to say this is intended to be constructive?
Yes. Yes.
That's why I don't understand the resistance. I'm making a motion that we go into closed session to hear Catherine's legal opinion.
I would second it.
All in favor?
Well, we have to have a roll call.
Roll call. Beverly?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Linda, yes. Stacy?
No.
John?
No, I'm not questioning.
Okay, that's not a 2/3 vote, so we can't go in closed session.
Okay.
So, for some other time, we can discuss concerns I have.
I would just like to say for the record, our OMA, the violation that we have, I don't believe that it has anything to do with us going into a closed session with our attorney. I just want to get that out there because I don't want people to be inferring something that's not a fact.
So, as a point of reference, I will say something in open session that I would have, talked about and discussed, and the board would have had to make a decision in open session. There was a violation on the meeting, I think it was April 25th, It was a special meeting that was called regarding a FOIA appeal. And it's my recommendation that the board set a date and a time and give proper notice to reenact that meeting.
Thank you for publicly putting that out there.
Well, we would have come out of closed session. Never make a decision in closed session, so it's my recommendation that we reenact that meeting with all proper notice. When there is an open meeting violation, you can cure it if you reenact. And so that's what I would recommend we do.
Question?
Do we need a motion to, so are we saying a special meeting as opposed to something that
Yes,
waits
it
until the
would,
next?
I would recommend that we do it as soon as possible, as, with proper noticing and just so that we can all understand, you know, both the Open Meetings Act and the Township statutes require certain type of noticing for special meetings. I sent, and in fact, I'll distribute to you, I sent this to the clerk already, but I'll distribute with you, to you, a sample that we use with a lot of our townships, so you can see what an open meetings notice looks like. And it has to be at least 18, and this one just happened to be for pending litigation, but they don't have to be for pending litigation. They have to be posted at least 18 hours ahead. They have to be.
Before my practice, thank you very much when I do my posting.
Okay. So, and on the website at least 18 hours ahead. And the form, it has to have, you know, name of the public body, address, telephone number, and all those things. So, if we do decide to have a special meeting, that's the type of notice. It sounds like the clerk uses that already. But I want to make sure that we also get it on the web page as required under the Open Meetings Act, and that we're very careful in terms of doing our noticing. Additionally, when you have a special meeting, you can only deal with the issues you put on the notice, unless all 5 of your board members are here. Then you could add other issues that could be considered by the board. But if only 4 of the board members are here, the only thing we could then talk about would be what was noticed for action. So those are some of the general parameters of the Open Meetings Act and the Township statute in terms of special meetings. And I would recommend that we reenact the meeting of April 25th, which was a special meeting. I think the only item on the agenda was a FOIA appeal, and I think that was passed, but I don't remember.
Such short
Right.
notice in the
Right.
meeting.
So if it's possible tonight, I would recommend the board pick a night, or pick a date or time for that special meeting.
This can't be done in a regular board meeting? Has to be done in-
Well, it could be, but let's just say in an open session, I'd like to limit our exposure for a violation of the Open Meetings
Well,
Act by
that's where we
directing
run
it.
into violations though too, is holding so many special meetings.
Well, if we hold this one correctly, we can remedy it and keep us from
Jeopardizing ourselves even more.
which is, I believe, your intent.
Right, and if she has plenty of notice, which also,
Well,
you
yeah,
know, that's been an issue too. So if we plan it out, maybe more than a week, maybe something.
I defer to the board.
What day would anyone like to do? I'm available the first possible date that the board's available.
Monday morning tended to work for most of us.
And I'd like to also express that this was a meeting that was a FOIA appeal, and I think we need to make sure that the person whose appeal it was would be available.
Good point.
And whether or not you need me, if you don't need me, then, you know, that's.
Sinking ship.
Okay.
So shall we contact that person first? To get some possible
But
dates?
remember, in order to set a meeting then, And one of the things that we're gonna talk about tonight, the township statute says, and I'll give you a copy of all this too, since I've brought it and made copies. 41.72A, and MCL Michigan Compiled Law 41.72A, specifically says, under sum 2, a special meeting of the township board shall be held at a time fixed by the board at a meeting, or when the supervisor considers it necessary. Upon call of the supervisor, the township clerk shall give notice of the time and place of the meeting to each member, either in person or by leaving a written notice at the member's address. So, or a special meeting of the township board shall be called by the clerk upon receiving a written request for the meeting signed by a majority of the township board members. So this is under the township statute, how to call a special meeting. Either the supervisor can call it if she considers it necessary, the clerk can call it if she gets a written request from a meeting, for the meeting signed by a majority, 3 of the board members. So, if you want to work at it that way, so that you don't have to decide at a meeting, otherwise you will have to decide at a meeting once you have a special meeting. If that makes sense.
Okay, so you're saying, in order to check with the appellant.
Appellant.
Felon, yeah.
I'm thinking of you. Okay, in order to check with that party first,
Then
we could send notices to
Three-
the clerk.
3 of you could let the clerk know, in writing, when you would like her to call a special meeting.
Does email work for writing?
What would you be comfortable with?
Email is fine.
Okay. So, or the supervisor can call it as necessary, and then the clerk shall give notice. That's a little bit more difficult, because then the clerk has to either give you notice in person or deliver it to your house. So that's a little bit more cumbersome for the clerk. I think the other way may be more acceptable.
As a supervisor, I had the contact with that party
Okay.
and give them 2 days, find out what 2 days are available, check with the board, and see what 2 days are available.
Okay. And I'm always, daytimes are better for me than night, because I have a lot of night meetings, but,
Stacy, do you have a schedule at all, like a routine on when you check your emails? Certain days or a certain amount of times a week, or
No, there's no
so that we could try
rhyme or
to
reason.
up the odds?
I try at least every other day to check it.
Okay.
Sometimes it depends on my, service. Whether it'll load them up for me or not. I try at least stay on top of them.
Catherine, due to the prickly nature of this particular one, would you assist in the language that needs to be on the posting?
if, I can, if the clerk will be nice, I'll let me know. But yeah, I mean, you know, what we would say is, consideration of a FOIA appeal of so-and-so. Yeah, but I should probably help you, because it'll say reenactment of meeting of April 25th or something.
Been there, done that.
Okay. So maybe if you draft it, if you want me to look at it, I'd be happy to look at it. Sounds like you've done that already, more than once, huh? So, yeah, we do have to distinguish this when we do reenactment.
And I just like to say, I feel like, I don't think we can be too careful when it comes to these things, because we don't have insurance. It's gonna be,
Yeah, it's gonna be.
where would the money come from, and then what? So, I feel like being cautious is a better way to go.
All right, so I mean, that was one of my biggest concerns tonight, was that we have a discussion and, you know, make any decision in an open session about reenacting that meeting.
Is there any day that's not good for anybody? Preferably Mondays work for me.
Yeah, not Memorial Day.
Tuesday the 20th, I have a graduation, but.
So would a Monday work for everybody, or a Saturday?
Typically, Mondays work, the third is not good for me, that's it, in June.
Yeah, Monday would work better than
Well, then if you
Saturday.
get to the 10th, is that your regular meeting then?
No, we don't meet until the 18th.
Oh, okay.
Try for the 10th.
yeah, would you like to try for June tenth? That would be one day you could check with the appellant.
At what time?
What's this?
We're gonna shoot for June 10th, 10 a.m.
I'll write it down this info. June 10,
Not 100% yet, so
10 a.m.
question mark by that.
Is there an alternative date that I can give this other person?
How about well, then you just wanted to do it. But I would like to keep it separate from your regular board. You would activity, yeah.
So the alternative date would be June 17th?
Is that okay?
Well, what about, are there
What,
any
we got
other
another
days
date?
of the week?
The 17th would be
the
alternative.
week of the
Oh,
3rd through the
okay.
7th, are there any other possible?
17th also. All right.
Yeah, is there another weekday alternative in case Mondays don't work for the party in question?
I'm pretty much in the morning at almost any day. After next week I'm very busy, but, you know, after the 1st of June, in the daytime, I'm fairly open.
So we'll be contacting them for some days work, and if they don't,
We'll go at this again.
Stacy, I think we both have to be here on Friday the 7th, don't we?
Audit?
Well, I mean, that's what we, for me, yeah, but I usually try and be here, so.
June 7th?
Yeah.
We all have to do that, Gigi. Good for me in your pay.
What?
Nothing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't understand.
Try.
So of course you wouldn't be available.
Normandy, Omaha, okay. No, I wasn't there, but, a lot of them are dying now. They're in their 90s.
Okay.
I'd like to say to
Need to
Karen,
make
we
a motion
appreciate,
for this.
our attorney here, we appreciate her working with us because we're not always on top of everything all the time, and we sure appreciate your
Thank
putting
you
the
for
input
saying
in.
that.
And our clerk here is getting gray hair, and, we don't need that, we don't need that.
That's just the age,
we don't-
John, that ain't the job.
Well, you can get a bottle, I can't do nothing.
We can get you a bottle. Anytime you want.
Thank you, John, for saying that.
Well, thank you, I appreciate it.
any other board comments, Beverly?
Yes, I would like us to, take the advice we pay for.
Karen?
I echo also thanking Catherine. I'm sure we are not the easiest client. And, you know, I believe that the closed session was intended for good. But if not this time, then maybe some other time.
Stacy?
Yeah, I appreciate the attorney's input on all this, but I appreciate some of my board members also, taking my word for what I let them know. I think we've covered a few of these things, and we ended up with this violation anyway. I've sat on the board for quite a long time, haven't had an open meetings act violation, haven't had any violations, and, I try to protect the board and the people, but I guess that's all I can do. If you're gonna fall on deaf ears, it's gonna fall on deaf ears.
Well, I gotta hear your name now.
Anybody else? Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Appreciate it. Catherine, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
As far as the posting on the door, I think there was some confusion as to what was posted as to what was not was posted. So it was, I think, a misunderstanding all the way around. that open meetings law violations, there were some things that were normally posted at one time, were posted that wasn't normal, that wasn't there on this one. So I think it was just a miscommunication, and, I just wanted to make sure that we all start, communicating a little better on those things.
Well, and if I can still chime in, the clerk is correct that she does know how to write posting. I know, I do not. And having her start with the draft, if there's any question of whether it's got the content maybe that somebody wants, maybe that is something for a question, but she knows how to do the mechanics for sure, so that's not an issue.
Thank you, Karen.
You got a lot on your plate, kid, you got a lot on your plate.
You come eat with me?
Any
I'm not
other,
eating off your plate.
any other issues, comments, correspondence, announcements?
Are we still having a garage sale in the parking lot,
Yeah.
Brenda? Or is that on?
Selling
Tomorrow
garages.
will be the final decision. I'll get a hold of Teresa if there's nobody signed up. We're calling.
Nobody here signed up for a table for a garage sale?
I think it's the timing, it's Memorial Day weekend, most people are gone or
That
have
could
other
be,
plans.
absolutely, that could be.
Okay, I have to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
No public comment?
Well, we offered it earlier, but
You offered it earlier.
I asked and you said public comment.
Okay, go ahead, you can have it come.
All right, well, so my understanding is now that we are in violation. True, false?
Do you want me to answer? Yes, there was a violation from that April 25th meeting.
Why? Why are we, once again, in harm's way with a violation with this board again?
I think we discussed it, I think at the last meeting when I think you were here, that there was a notice was posted not by the clerk, and that there was an error on the notice.
Why?
I can't answer that question.
Somebody should.
I think we had discussion on this at the last meeting.
Well, there was no discussion.
Any other public comments? Thank you for your comments. Any other comments? I have to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second that. We're done.
I'm reading on and my other attorney is working on it. We're both working on it on the same time. We're running out whatever we can in between.